So Khamzat Chimaev versus Kamaru Usman is set to be the co-main event of UFC 294, and I can't wait for this matchup. We have Kamaru Usman coming in on short notice to save this card to make up for Paulo Costa pulling out, being the pullout merchant that he is. When will this guy ever have a fight? I don't know. When will he ever get healthy? When will he ever have an excuse? When will he even make weight at this point? Because Paulo Costa can't seem to just have a fight normally. It doesn't make sense to me. But we have Kamaru Usman filling in for this and fighting Khamzat in a dream 170-pound matchup. But guess what? There's a catch. It's actually at middleweight 185 pounds. And this is kind of what we've been waiting for. And I know that it's a new matchup at 185, but we have been kind of speculating, kind of wondering when this fight will happen. But unfortunately, Kamaru Usman did lose to Leon Edwards, and then we had this whole fiasco with Khamzat and the Nate Diaz fight, and it kind of fell out of the wayside. It kind of fell into misfortune, and now we have Khamzat moving up, but Kamaru Usman staying down at welterweight. So we kind of came to terms to this, that this fight would probably never happen, and that we would never see Khamzat versus Usman, but we get what we want. We get what we wish. The UFC has blessed us. Kamaru Usman has blessed us with his presence with this fight, and he steps in to fight Khamzat. But I think that this is the biggest mistake that Kamaru Usman has ever made in the entirety of his career. Let's be honest here. Him going up to fight at 185 pounds against Khamzat Chimaev has to be absolutely the worst decision that he has possibly made ever in his career. Not only will he be smaller than Khamzat, he won't be as technical, he won't be as powerful, he won't be as enforcing as he typically is. His style does not match up well against Khamzat. There's too many factors to tell me that this is a bad, terrible fight for Kamaru Usman. I think he'll get put out in the first round by like a right hook or a 1-2 down the pipe, and it's going to absolutely send Kamaru Usman to the shadow realm. Not as bad as the way Leon Edwards did it, but somewhat similar. I think that he's over the hill. I think Kamaru Usman has reached this point in his career where he has already peaked and now he's on the decline. He's already hit that big super level god tier of a fighter in Kamaru Usman when he fought, I think, Gilbert Burns. And now since that point, he has been looking absolutely washed. And I know that he put out Jorge Masvidal. I know that he was winning the first Leon Edwards matchup, but he has looked slow. He has looked sloppy. He has looked not as enforcing with his grappling, his offensive grappling. He has looked kind of like a mid-tier welterweight. And I hate to say that because I think Kamaru Usman, I respect him so much for taking this fight, but I have to speak the truth here. I have to be totally honest with you guys, or myself and you guys, about this matchup. And I think that Kamaru Usman is making a huge mistake. Now, getting into those reasons that I was mentioning, we'll start off with the kind of obvious one. This is on short notice, right? Khamzat Chimaev has been sitting out for over a year, maybe serving a USADA suspension. We don't know. It might be a thing, but he's been sitting out for over a year preparing to fight at middleweight. That means that he's been putting on size, been putting on muscle, and building himself to be a legit 185er in terms of size. We've even seen Khamzat Chimaev posting pictures of him posing with his new amount of muscle gain. And this entire time, what has Kamaru Usman been doing? Guess what? Preparing for a welterweight fight against like Wonderboy, or maybe against a Shavkat. I mean, he has been preparing to fight at welterweight for some time now. He has not thought about going up to middleweight, or maybe he thought about it, but he has not prepared himself to go up to middleweight just yet. And now on a week's notice, he definitely does not have enough time to really build himself into middleweight. He's kind of stuck here at his welterweight size and trying to go up to fight a guy who is going to be already larger than him. If this fight was actually going to go down at welterweight, Khamzat already would have had a size advantage. Now he's going to have, I think, probably time and a half, double the size advantage that he was going to have if he fought him at welterweight. Now at middleweight, he's going to be a much larger man than Kamaru Usman. And that really kind of hurts the style of Kamaru Usman, because let's break down his style, right? Kamaru Usman's style is a guy who likes to walk forward. He likes to threaten you with offensive takedowns, likes to pretty much bully you against the cage, and he likes to really pressure you, a really pressure-heavy style, and just kind of enforce or impose his will against you, right? When we look at Khamzat's style, It's pretty much the exact same, but he's more, I think, aggressive with it. He's more willing to just shoot a takedown in the first 10 seconds of the fight. He's more willing to just go at you with everything he has. He's a very fast starter. He's willing to put it on you by the very first second. So right with that, it's a battle of wills, and I think Khamzat, with the size that he has, will be able to impose his will better than Kamaru Usman. And so that leaves Kamaru Usman pretty much on the back foot. What is he going to do on the back foot? We have never ever seen Kamaru Usman on the back foot ever in his career, and I don't think he has much from it. I think his striking is already pretty mediocre. It's pretty rudimentary. It's already pretty limited. If Kamaru Usman can't take people down, he just strikes with you, like against Colby Covington. He just strikes with you, and Colby Covington was able to rock him at certain points. I think that we've seen, like if you ever seen clips of Kamaru Usman striking, you can kind of tell that it's not the most polished, the most technical striking that you've ever seen. It's pretty much, you know, he's a good power shot, a good 1-2, I think. Everything else is kind of, not set up. He ducks his head, closes his eyes all the time. He's not really an elite striker, and he never ever will be. And I'm not saying that Khamzat is an elite striker, but he is, I think, more efficient. I think he is more technical. I think he has the better ability of landing really big KO blows rather than Kamaru Usman. Because, I mean, think about it, man. If Colby Covington is able to rock you and hurt you at certain points in a fight, what will a huge, basically a beefed up, sauced up Khamzat Chimaev, what is he going to be able to do to you like a Colby Covington, who I think he is better striking than? I think Colby versus Usman was like kind of a battle of people who didn't really know how to strike too well. And I think Khamzat actually knows how to strike very well. He spent time, I think, in Tiger Muay Thai. He spent time with them. He's been working on his striking for a very long time. He has really solid power. He KO'd Aliskerov at one point. Like, he has legit striking. It's not the best, but it's not terrible striking. He has legit, I think, above average striking, especially for middleweight. He might even have, advanced level striking, because middleweight is kind of a trash division, let's be honest here. But back to my point, if Colby can land on you and hurt you, Khamzat will do you one a little bit better. So now the main argument that I'm saying that's going around is that Gilbert Burns took it to Khamzat, and Kamaru Usman was able to pretty much wash away and wipe through Gilbert Burns, right? That's why some people are mainly picking Kamaru Usman to win this fight, because of that MMA math, that MMA algebra sort of take. And I just don't think that's how you should really look at elite level fights. Maybe that might work for guys who are on the prelims or people who are making their debuts. Maybe you can kind of use MMA math to get a good tell. But I think once you get to this level of fighting, once you get into the high rankings of the UFC, you kind of have to judge fights by the styles and how each of the fighters fight and what is their main style, is what I'm trying to say here. And again, that Gilbert Burns fight was kind of the high peak of Kamaru Usman's prime, and since then it's been on a slow, slippery slope down to now what he is. And the reason that Khamzat even struggled with Gilbert Burns was because of what Gilbert Burns offered off of his back. The reason that Khamzat Chimaev didn't want to go down and really beat up on Gilbert Burns was that he was threatening submissions. Gilbert Burns is a very, very good jiu-jitsu practitioner, and Kamaru Usman kind of isn't. I know we haven't seen Kamaru Usman ever on his back besides, like, I think a minute against Leon Edwards, but what did he show in that minute against Leon Edwards that Gilbert Burns has shown in his entire career? Gilbert Burns has shown an elite level of being able to work off of his back. Kamaru Usman pretty much got full mounted in like 3 seconds against Leon Edwards. That tells me that Usman might not have the most off of his back as in terms of Gilbert Burns. I think that Gilbert Burns was a very hard stylistic matchup for Khamzat, and I think that he was a very easy matchup for Kamaru Usman with the way that they fight. And I guess Kamaru Usman found how to use a jab for the first time in his career against Gilbert Burns. It doesn't make much sense to me, but anyways, my main point is that you can't really use Gilbert Burns too much, because I think he matches up differently between Khamzat and Usman. So I think you kind of have to remove Gilbert Burns entirely and just look at these two fighters, and Khamzat and Usman, and how they fight together, how they match up against each other. And what I think is that Kamaru Usman doesn't have much on the back foot. That check hook, like Gilbert Burns has, is not really in the game of Kamaru Usman. He can definitely throw it, but that is Gilbert Burns' bread and butter, is that check hook. He hit so many people with that throughout his career, and Kamaru Usman just hasn't ever done that. If he happens to go down, if he gets taken down or falls down, maybe if he gets rocked and falls down, Does he have anything off of his back? And from what we've seen from the very short sample size of Kamaru Usman on his back, he doesn't really have much of anything. And I don't really see him being able to take down Khamzat. He's a Dagestani wrestler. These guys just don't get taken down for the most part. Like, whenever we ever seen Islam get taken down, really? Like, he got knocked down against Volk, but we haven't ever seen him get like double legged or single leg tripped down. You know what I mean? So if it does go to the ground, I don't see Kamaru Usman being the one taking down Khamzat. I kind of see it the other way around. I don't think either one really go for takedowns, but if one person does go for a takedown, I think it will be Khamzat, because Kamaru Usman has shown that he is willing to just strike with people who have good wrestling ability. And lastly, how well is Kamaru Usman's body going to be? He has a history of not being the most healthy person ever and kind of just pushing through it. Not pushing through it, pushing through it. If you don't know, Kamaru Usman has really bad knees. He has really bad joint issues throughout his entire career. He's been very vocal about it. And I think now that he's reaching an age, I think he's what, 37 years old. I just don't see that getting any better for him. And I know on short notice he's definitely healthy, but I don't think that he's going to be the supreme Kamaru Usman that he used to be. And him trying to shoot takedowns and trying to get down and impose his will against Khamzat Chimaev with bad knees doesn't sit too well in my stomach. I think we're going to see Kamaru Usman maybe try a couple takedowns and then not succeed and just be pretty much obsolete against Khamzat Chimaev. And I think, I'm not going to say he's going to give up, but I can see him kind of succumbing to the pressure, succumbing to the style that is Khamzat Chimaev, and eventually getting TKO'd. So let's break down how I think the fight will actually go. I'm predicting a late first round TKO for Khamzat Chimaev, and this is how the fight will go. We're going to see them come out. We're going to see Khamzat Chimaev immediately be aggressive as possible, maybe even go for a takedown against Kamaru Usman like the first 10 seconds. He might do a Li Jingliang where he goes for a second and then he ducks under and goes for a double leg. We might see that from him, but he's going to be immediately aggressive. He's going to put Kamaru Usman on the back foot. He's going to be smiling, laughing at him, having a good time before the fight even starts, but he's going to rush in and push Kamaru Usman back. Usman's going to take it, maybe go for a takedown, gets it stuffed, doesn't get it, and he backs up, and then bam, big right hand, big jab is going to stun, maybe wobble Kamaru Usman for a second, but he's going to recover himself, and then he's going to throw back, miss, then maybe a takedown attempt from Khamzat Chimaev again. He might stuff it, he might get taken down, who knows, but I think he'll stuff this one because he's going to be ready for those immediate takedowns, and then bam, another jab. Bam, a 1-2. Maybe a front kick from Chimaev because he does like front kicks sometimes. He's going to just completely pressure Kamaru Usman backwards, get him up against the cage, and then bam, a 1-2 at the end of the round after a little bit of a filling out process in between from the fast start from Khamzat, and the middle will kind of be just a slow filling out process, maybe with some time up against the cage, defending takedowns from both, maybe, and then just a nice 1-2 while Khamzat Chimaev is backing up Kamaru Usman, puts him down, and then I think ground and pound comes his way. I think we're going to see Chimaev maybe hop into mount and then just finish off Kamaru Usman from their pause. But we're going to see that happen more than likely. But I'm out of here, guys. That's my prediction. Late first round TKO for Khamzat Chimaev. Thank you guys for watching this video up to this point. I surely do appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications. I'm out of here. Peace.